it's very natural. We call it like a very natural or very normal reaction to trauma is for a person who has been traumatized to blame themselves. And so that's enough in itself. And that's probably one of the biggest hurdles in recovering is being able to separate themselves from what happened. And so a survivor is one who is able to accommodate the traumatic experience. Anytime a person faces any type of a traumatic experience, they have psychological symptoms, obviously. Some people naturally recover and some don't. And so sometimes it takes more intervention in order to assist those who aren't able to recover as quickly. And a lot of things, kind of play into that experience, pre-trauma exposure. And so what happens, their belief system are typically negatively impacted by their traumatic experience. So it's not the details of the trauma that's difficult, it's their perception of what it's like to have had this horrible experience, exposure, if you will. I meet them where they are. We talk about it, whatever that is. And what's hard is for them to recognize some of the distortions that they have about what happened. They're automatic, but they're not accurate. Like they believe that if they had not worn a certain thing, that maybe, it would not have happened, or if they would have known this or should have known that. So oftentimes they'll be left with shame and guilt, and some of those assimilated types of thoughts that come from how a person perceives everything around them now. It's different, typically. Certain places that they go to now may be a little bit more difficult because of their perception, their distorted thoughts about it, more than the reality. It varies. There are 4 clusters of symptoms. There is the re-experiencing of the event. That can be nightmares, dreams, flashbacks, when you act or feel as if it's happening again. And then there are the arousal symptoms, the physical symptoms, the difficulty falling asleep, difficulty concentrating, feeling always edgy and on guard. And then there are the mood, the changes in your mood that come from, again, your thoughts, or one's thoughts or perceptions about what happened. And more than likely, the mood will be persistently negative as a result of the way they perceived themselves, other people in the world, based on their perceptions of what happened to them. And then the last one I want to throw this into, the last one is avoidance. Avoidance of anything that reminds them of what happened. Sight, sound, smells, turning off the television, not wanting to think about it, wanting to wield it away as if it never happened, which is actually a symptom. And so sometimes people avoid by engaging in some type of a maladaptive coping, drinking, smoking, binge eating, sexing. So just impulsive types of methods of coping that they believe will help them to not think about or escape from, even for a moment. People cope differently. Some people, it may take a long time for them to actually do the work. Trauma work isn't easy. It's difficult because typically people don't come to treatment right after an event. When they start struggling with relationships and just their ability to function every day, they realize that they're at a place to where they're not able to live their life in a way that they feel productive. And so they recognize the relationship challenges and maybe having difficulty with authority, or even just being with themselves and how they see themselves differently. And a lot of times they don't like themselves. after having experienced such a trauma. And so those are the things that typically get them in to seek treatment, is when they tried all these other methods of coping and it's just not helping.